They want us to think that we're an insignificant speck of dust, but let me tell you, we are so much more than dust in the wind.
At least 4 billion useless eaters will be eliminated by the year 2050.
I'm still waiting for somebody to show me gas pressure without a container.
I personally don't believe anything they say, right down to the God they claim they worship.
None of the math adds up.
You could stack up all their math books, all their science books, and even put all their degrees stacked up on top of that, and you still wouldn't be high enough to see the curvature.
This is exactly why grounding is so important.
We see too far.
We're just regular people who know we're being lied to. We're tired of it.
The bottom line is, there's only one choice left, and that's to dismantle this whole thing from the top down.
Yeah, you were in the green room. Now we're live.
Oh,
Yeah.
the big boy room.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, man. So I guess the best place to start is tell everybody who you are, where to find you, and what you do, because this is going to be a different one for us, but in a good way. I didn't have any clue who you were, and then I watched a couple videos on you, and I was like, wow. So.
Well, okay, so I've been trying to wake up the sheeple, the lemmings from the Matrix since literally 1991 it started. So I was 15 in 91. I found that the easiest thing to do with human beings as we know them is to not preach, but to give little hints, because human beings don't like preachiness. That turns them away. So the best thing to do is like George Costanza when he was like, leave pie men in. So the best thing to do, and then it sticks in your head, and then you want to call them back for a date. It's like, it's the same thing I learned to do, is leave little hints here and there to make people think throughout the day, to help try to make them question the establishment and to help make them question the narrative that they were pushed and indoctrinated into. So I started doing that. I found that the way was through art, was through chalk art in particular. So this way it's legal. So I literally went out back in 2007 or 8. I don't remember that exactly, but it was like 2007 or 8. I went out, I literally bought a thing of chalk, and I started going around my neighborhood at the time, which was in Long Island City, Queens at the time. And I just started writing slogans everywhere. Like, by the going down to the train station, the bus stops, walls of the bridge, on the Pulaski Bridge, and all over the neighborhood, just leaving like little snippets of things to make people think. And then I started taking pictures of it. And then when I started doing that, I said, well, let me take it as far as I could. So then I started to find, subjects to shoot with the, because sometimes not even using words, less is more. And then that's when I found Eric, who made the documentary about me. He was living next door to me at the time, and he was like, so you're the one around the neighborhood leaving all the political slogans and stuff. I said, yeah. He goes, well, we need to make a documentary about you. And then I was like, well, I'm making a photo book, blah 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 blah. And then so that's how it kind of all started. So my website is Mpixtures, Mpixtures.com. And there's a link there to like my Twitter and the documentary and my books. My two favorite books are the Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and the Consortium Agenda Volume 2. Those really hit hard because I go into all the fake, the good government bullshit. Like, I go into Operation Sea Spray. I go into, Operation Large Area Coverage, all my photos of me hanging people on the street, which I've done multiple times. And what's funny is in New York City, literally nobody cared. I mean, those pictures were taken in 2009, mostly when I was making those two books. But I remember like hanging my friend on the street corner, and nobody cared. They're like, what a different time it was. I mean, meanwhile, it was only 2009.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so like the Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and Volume 2, I go into the the deep state, if you will, and the secret societies, and then I try and wake up people through art. and trying to explain to everybody, what's happening, through subliminal messaging, through messaging. And then I actually used to, on my own, I would actually print out the pictures and I would just tape them to walls. Like, just, like I would go to Staples, I'd print out a picture, and then I would just take duct tape and I'd put them on construction site walls and like walls of just supermarkets and billboards and like,
post no bills, bro. Post
Yeah.
no bills. Can't you read?
Can you post Ted's?
Yeah. And then like I'm still doing it today. I'm down here in Miami. I'm still behind enemy lines, but in Florida at least. And so I'm still doing it today.
We're neighbors, my man.
Where are you?
I don't want to say exactly. I'll tell you after, but we're very close. That's all you
Okay, but are you in Florida?
South Florida.
Oh yeah, okay. So then
I'm within 20 to 30 minutes of you in some direction. So
as long as you're not in Miami, you're better off.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, hey, see, now I know you're really there.
Yeah,
yeah, I know, because
that's how I know.
Yeah,
well, dude, you don't like going to the club?
Anywhere I've been in the country, when people are like, "Oh, so you're from Miami?" I'm like, "No, I'm not from Miami."
You do not want to be from Miami.
No.
It's just.
I mean, that's weird. A New Yorker moving to South Florida. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's so strange. It's so weird.
My whole family. You sound like every one of my cousins. Your voice is exactly the
same. I mean, yeah, I was never a fan of New York either, but I hated New York back when 20 years ago, when still, life was normal. I didn't like New York just because of the weather. I call myself a tropical Caucasian. So I like to ride my motorcycle all year. I don't like snow. So I was just tired of New York weather. And then, I saw the writing on the wall, of course, with changing society, politics, the laws that were put into place, the nanny state getting bigger. Everyone's was being indoctrinated with some bullshit, but it was being drip fed. So like, I was like, you know what, let me get out of here. And I came to Miami by accident. I was originally going to go to Tampa. And then I said, I've never been to Miami. Let me just see it. And then I just ended up staying. Long story.
That's how we all get. And actually, I was born down here, but a lot of people that's like, I just came here on vacation and then never left, man.
Yeah. That's actually what happened. I'm not trying to be funny. That's literally what happened.
I know.
And because I came down here, it was early fall, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like, you mean this is winter?" I was like, "No, I'm not going back." I literally, I said, "I'm not going back."
Yeah, that's the big seller, honestly.
Yeah.
It's the weather, especially for Northerners. They love it.
Even when I came here to Miami, 2013, I got an apartment on South Beach. On South Beach, I got a 1-bedroom apartment for $1,400 a month. Now that same apartment's $2,400.
Yeah,
I was gonna say what, $3,400.
Yeah, it's the world's gone crazy.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I'm just trying to wake people up with art. Yeah.
So what was the first thing that woke you up, and like how old were you? How did it happen for you? We love to ask people that because it's always something different.
If I really had to pinpoint it, it would be all the pointless wars, because I remember, I'm older than I think you said. Somebody here was born in 97 or something. So if you remember when CNN just came out, like in the very early 90s, how convenient that the first Gulf War came out the first time CNN came out as a 24-hour news network, and now they had a reason for you to tune in. How convenient.
That's when the whole entire theater was being kicked up a notch,
right?
And
I remember watching the war because 1990 I was 14, so like I remember watching the war, the first Gulf War, before the first World Trade Center kaboom, and before Ruby Ridge, before Waco.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, why would I go? If this war is going to be another Vietnam and it's going to be a 10-year war, so I'm 4 years away from 18, why would I go here and go kill all these brown people in the desert? And I don't know why. You're claiming that he's a dictator, but you gave him the weapons of mass destruction. Yeah. So you used him to go against the people that you wanted to take out. So you used him as a pawn, and then now you want to go and take him out. It was like one of these CIA James Bond hit movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna lose my arm and have to go kill people because the government says I have to go. Like, for what? When are they gonna come here and and invade the country? When they do, I'll dig my boots in the ground and I will fight. Until then, exactly. I'm not gonna be shipped to some who knows where. And for what? For peanut pay? You can make more money at Foot Locker.
What, dude? You're not.
And
You're
you
not a
don't get
patriot?
shot at. Well,
You're not a
I mean-
patriot. You don't love your country, man.
Yeah.
It was so. It was.
Man.
It was the first Gulf War, and then you know what it was too. Like George Carlin was right about a lot of things, and he was wrong about a lot of things. But listening to George Carlin, he was like my favorite stand-up comedian at the time, and so like listening to him, and then like seeing what started to go on in the change, and like in my neighborhood, all of a sudden everybody started putting up those yellow ribbons, and it was like,
Yeah.
right, and it was like,
How about that crap?
yeah, and it was like it was so weird, and it was like, well, you didn't care about the soldiers a month ago. Now all of a sudden you care about the soldiers and put up yellow ribbons.
It's
So-
so good. Have you ever seen? Did you ever watch Seinfeld? I assume.
Oh, I'm a,
Okay.
He already
So
made
did
a
you-
reference.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. So the AIDS walk. Why don't you want to wear the ribbon?
Who doesn't want to wear the ribbon?
That's what I
know.
thought of right away.
So good.
Too.
And it was like that. I literally was living in the ghetto at that time in New York. I lived okay. So DMX and like Jadakiss, I was living 2 blocks away from them at the time in New York.
Nice.
So there was this park called Grant Park, Grant, and I lived right across the street from Grant Park. The people in the neighborhood were putting yellow ribbons. They were selling crack in the park. They were fighting pit bulls in the park. The cops would not go in the park after dark. That's how dangerous it was. And then you had them putting up yellow ribbons. And I would say to the adults, because I was 14, I would say to the adults, why don't we fight the drugs that are going on in here? Why are we worried about the soldiers going off to fight some war? Like, I can't walk around the neighborhood without my parents because they're paranoid something's going to happen to me. Why don't we make the neighborhood a better place? Oh, we have to support the troops. We have to support the troops. But you didn't support the troops 6 months ago. So, you know, and so that's kind of what woke me up. And then what really woke me up was Ruby Ridge. That was the biggest. Not only so after they killed Randy Weaver's family and put him in jail, they had to let him go and give him, what was it, $2 million and an apology letter because they were 100% wrong.
Right.
And the people saw how out of control the government was at that time. And what they did was so egregious that they literally had to give Randy Weaver, I don't forgot the amount, it's like $2 or $3 million, an apology letter, and let him out of jail and expunge his record. That's how egregious what they did to him and his family were. That really woke me up. I never forget Randy Weaver and what happened. I always mention him.
Yeah, man, that was a little early for me. So I was like, what are these crazy rednecks doing out there in the country? Just trying to, I didn't know. I totally bought into the narrative back then. So.
And then, of course, Waco,
we were dumb bucks. It was like, we were like, I don't think we were even teenagers yet when that happened. So.
Yeah, then I was born in 82. So I was 19 when 9/11 happened. So when you were talking about worried about being drafted, I was too. Right. So was Bill. You're a year older than me. So we were together when it happened, actually, at work when 9/11 happened. And I wasn't awake enough yet, but I distinctly remember us having a conversation. I don't remember the wording, but I remember the sentiment of it that was like, something's not right about what they're telling us. Like, something's weird. But we were at work.
Like,
what's that?
Fall. Remember, it was just like,
oh yeah,
it looked like someone bombed it, and it just, like when they to destroy buildings for demolition. It's like, that's kind of what it looked like. And then the more you look at it, it's like it looks more and more like it. Like
I'm gonna take it back. Well, I had this thought in my head, even better. So now I remember, like, I was in my, a garage band, typical teenager. I was a drummer in a garage band,
nice.
and we would sit down and we were watching CNN because CNN was all the rage, the 24-hour news network. And this was like 90. What was it? I think it was 93. Remember Yugoslavia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So you remember Milosevic, Slobodan Milosevic, and right. So CNN kept pushing at that time, 24 hours a day. Milosevic. Oh, we're gonna have to send troops. And I remember my friend who was sitting right next to me. We were eating a pizza and a milkshake or something, and I said, we're gonna be like 18 in a year and a half. I am not going to some country called Yugoslavia and gonna go kill. I don't even know where it is on a map, and then I'm not gonna have my arms blown off. Why are we like? Why is this even news? And then he was like, I'll go to Canada before I go there. And I'm like, dude, this is getting crazy. I was like, didn't we learn anything from Vietnam? And then then when you when you look at the bigger picture, you start understanding, the military-industrial complex,
right?
War profiteering, stock options, Raytheon, EG&G, Bechtel, So, and then you realize that it's all a game. And then you start realizing, well, if that's a game, what else is a game? And then you start realizing it's all money, it's all power, it's all corrupt. And that's kind of like what woke me up. It was those few things that happened in the early 90s.
You just didn't want to go to war because you're a lazy hippie, bro.
Exactly.
That's what-
100%.
I know.
I need to listen to the Grateful Dead and
Yeah, I know.
Get me
Yeah,
my
that's
fist
crazy
symbol.
back then. I mean, it's amazing that you've been awake to this for so long. I feel like most people, thought it was their patriotic duty to support whatever the cause is up until now. But man, I was just thinking, I was like, so basically you started off by just connecting the dots between, what you're seeing on CNN and all that.
Right.
I was wondering, back then, hardly anyone was awake. It's like, where are you getting your info from? Is it you reading the Elder Scrolls or something like that? Yeah.
Literally, like the biggest thing, like Fox News at the time. By the way, Fox News had this show for you youngins back in the early 90s called Sightings.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's
I
right.
remember that show.
Yep. The
Was
host,
it the dude from Star Trek or something like that?
I thought the host was an admiral or an ex-admiral.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, they used to like pair it or like with or it was like the competition for like unsolved mysteries.
Yes,
or whatever.
exactly.
But, yeah.
Okay.
And I remember getting it like when they would have like a Bigfoot segment or like one of these, somebody filmed the Gulf Breeze UFO, and people would get into these serious debates about like the Gulf Breeze UFO thing, and that was like the most serious thing at the time. And then now, the average person knows about like the child trafficking that's going on, like the average person. It's like, and it's so funny to see the juxtaposition of where we were then to where we are now. It's like, it's a, in whatever, 30 years, the average person, was like, oh, Gulf Breeze, what a big deal. And then now everybody's like, yeah, there's secret societies that run everything. I'm like, well, where were you back in 92, ass?
Dude, they do this with, go ahead, Bill.
No, you're good.
All right. They do this with everything. And honestly, this is one of the things that pisses me off the most at them and at the general public is they slow roll the information out for so long, and they build it up, and it's in movies, and it's in this, and it's in that, and it's made jokes about until it actually happens that you're so used to hearing about it, it's not a shock to you anymore. That's what they did with the
desensitized.
the fake UFO shit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And
I
I
know.
watch people buy into it and just like, oh, somebody did this. Well, it's not a surprise. Well, do you know why it's not a surprise?
It's don't even get me started with the fake UFO grift cult. David Wilcock pushing blue chickens and Jeremy Corbell, his fucking fancy blue jeans and his it's Tom DeLonge and his dude. It's what a disgusting. I can't even. And Linda Moulton Howe pushing Corey Good and Bill Wilcock, and then you have now the new savior is what's his name, Billy Carson.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
Oh my
The
God!
false prophet.
And while they're all like flossing their Freemason rings and jewelry and
they got
stuff
Bentleys,
too.
and he's asking for donations. The motherfucker. Can I curse here?
Yes, absolutely.
The motherfucker rolls up in a Bentley talking about I need donations. What do you need? Wait, for what, gas?
Don't ask why the pastor drive a nice car.
Exactly.
Don't ask.
and what drives me crazy, I don't know. Are you guys into UFC? Did you see the Rampage Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Rampage was recently on Joe Rogan, the shill for NASA.
Mm-hmm.
So Rampage, you can clearly see it's toward the end of the interview where Rampage went into the whole fake alien thing for like a brief second and said, yeah, I believe that the aliens come from beyond the ice wall. And Joe, when I say pump the brakes, man, he looked at him and said, no, we're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
What?
It's
What do you
crazy.
mean? And then the next, if you actually watch the PSYOP, the next thing Joe Rogan said was ball earth. And he repeated the word ball earth like 5 times in a row.
Unbelievable.
I saw the clip, but I didn't watch the whole thing. Like, I can only take small segments of Joe Rogan because when I was younger, I used to like him, and now I'm like, we know, man.
Sold out. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
so
100
sold
million
out,
from
dude.
Spotify.
It was over.
I mean, don't get me wrong, $100 million is a lot of money, but I mean, the way you're shilling, it's like, dude, like how do you go to bed at night? How do you look at yourself in the mirror? How do you go? You have to say the word ball. He literally said ball earth like 5 times.
He lays on a lot of hundreds.
Right.
and they're very comfortable.
Yeah. So I guess that's how he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And Rampage smiled. Rampage smiled and looked at him like, okay. So they had a talk before the show. They couldn't talk about it. And it's like, and I don't understand like how like Eddie Bravo is still friends with him.
I was just gonna say that, like they're like best friends, and he even referenced that in that, right? Like, Eddie knows a lot of good stuff, but he's just crazy on this one thing. Like,
just this one thing he's wrong on. Right.
Yeah, just like the government lies about everything except this one thing that
Dude,
they're telling you the truth on.
I tell people all the time, if you still believe the government and all this good government bullshit, beside the Tuskegee Airmen, that in and of itself is a crime on top of a crime. Yeah. But Google Operation Sea Spray. They literally, the United States government literally fucking flew over San Francisco with planes and dumped bioweapons on the people of San Francisco. And they did this just as an experiment to see what would happen. And isn't it funny that San Francisco 10 years later became the fucking center for beatniks and cuckoo puffs? So obviously it had some sort of effect on society because that's a direct correlation.
Yeah.
Oh, so they were spraying like soybean oil on them or something?
They had to roll around on the floor with soybean oil. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
So what do you think about the 5G then? Because I feel like that's almost kind of a similar thing.
I knew you were going to find a way to bring that up tonight, Rufus.
Every time.
You've been cooking on it, man. You've been
the 5G, I've been on the fence with the 5G for a while because I know it's not good for us 100%, but I don't know if they're doing it subliminally where they're able to like Havana syndrome people's brains by dripping in, subliminal messages, and they're doing like that way, or what they're doing, because I do notice that there's way less insects, there's way less birds. 100%, even down here in South Florida.
Yes.
100%. I'm talking, I haven't seen a bee all fucking summer. Not kidding.
Yeah, no, neither have I, man.
Right.
Neither have I.
Dude, I remember when I was a kid, we would just go take jars and poke some holes in the top, and we'd catch like so many bees or grasshoppers too. When's the last time you've seen a grasshopper?
Nope, not happening.
Not happening.
Wow,
not happening.
Good point.
There used to be fields of grasshoppers.
Yep. Absolutely. And I so obviously the 5G, is that responsible for the insect and the bird depopulation? Probably. Is it subliminal messaging people through like some sort of backdoor channel vibration frequency thing we don't know about? Yeah, probably. It's not good for us 100%. But this whole 5G thing to me, I see as almost as like a distraction. Like when Gordy Rose talks about his quantum computing or whatever. Right. It's just like, okay, but what actually is it going to do? All these, supercomputers and quantum computers and the qubits and all this stuff.
Right.
And then you start dwelling on it. And it's like, well, how many more children got trafficked while we were wasting time on this? You know what I'm saying? Good. It's just like, at the end of the day, I think it's more distraction stuff.
I think it's more to like affect the mood of the whole, the people, because you'll know. I mean, I feel like the moon plays roles in that too. But you'll see in the clouds, you can see like the frequency patterns. So something's obviously being shot through there, and that didn't used to happen when we were younger. So what's going on there? I just didn't know. I always like to ask people that because I like to know the input. I feel like we can feel it. You'll notice that everyone will be in a bad mood on the same day. Or at the polar opposite, everyone might be on a high or just feeling great on the same day. And it just doesn't happen like that, naturally.
And for me also, I also came to believe in my, I'm 48 now. So at 48, I came to believe that we're all running on different frequencies. And that's why some people, like some of us are sold and some of us are not sold, like no soul. And I what woke me up to that was NASA's fake imagery, their $60 million a day cartoon Photoshop classes that they put out.
Yeah.
It's
Can I just say I had no clue where you stood on any of that when we came in tonight. I literally didn't.
Flat earther.
Yeah, I mean,
or a globe denier.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean but they deny themselves. This is what's funny. Okay, but no. But let's use their logic, right? So Felix Baumgartner, the guy the Red Bull space astronaut, right? So Felix Baumgartner jumped out of the Red Bull capsule. He went public, during the press conference and said, "Oh, I saw the Earth's curvature." But then a day later, Neil deGrasse Tyson, their god, came out and said there's no way that Felix Baumgartner saw the Earth's curvature. He wasn't high enough. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing was a bad psyop, and why did Neil deGrasse Tyson ruin it then? It's like their own doesn't even make sense. And then I remember the interviewer that asked Neil deGrasse Tyson and said, really? He had a globe in his hand, and he said, no, Felix Baumgartner was only here above the globe. Right. So there's no way that he could see the curvature.
Yes.
And then he goes, that stuff was flat.
Yeah,
that's the best line ever. And honestly, he had to do that because they knew that we were going to be able to send something up there and challenge that fact. So they had to play damage control afterwards. That's what I think happened.
And then he comes out and says, well, the Earth is not really a sphere, it's a pear. And then after he said, no, really. Then after Neil deGrasse Tyson said it was a pear, then he came back out and said, well, actually, no, it's not a pear, it's an oblate spheroid. And the person asked him, what does that mean? He goes, well, it's a little bit wider at the hips.
Yeah.
What? Like,
chubbier. It's chubbier.
So the globe behind you, you're now saying is a lie because it's pear-shaped. Then you say the pear is a lie, that it's an oblate spheroid. And then you're like, what? Like, and you make how much money? And you teach at all the museums, and you teach kids, and you're giving classes and lectures at universities, and you're like, come on. Like, at this point, if
all actors,
it's all actors, right? It's all a lie.
Freemasonic theater. That's what it is.
It's Freemasons, Jesuits, Bilderbergers, Skull and Bones, whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame. So yeah, I know that the Earth is not a a Joe Rogan cartoon.
That's so good.
Did you see Bryce Mitchell on Patrick Bet David?
No, I didn't.
I've seen him around, but not on that one.
Yeah, he was just on. Bryce Mitchell, the UFC fighter, was just on Patrick Bet David a week ago, and he went hard on Flat Earth. I'm talking.
Oh, I think I did see a clip of it. I just didn't know that he was on that.
So what was the show? What was the show? So it was a pretty prominent, wide viewership.
Yeah, like he did a full interview. It was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it was just Patrick Bet David and him one-on-one. And Patrick asked him, what is going on with Flat Earth? And I said, oh shit. And Bryce went fucking hard. I'm talking like 30 straight minutes proving that the globe is fake. And Patrick Bet David literally smirked like he knew. And I was like, okay. He didn't like he was asking like very easy questions, like because they had like a I guess little pre thing. And then when he asked them, he smiled. And then, it was something like he knows that it's flat. And so I was like, okay, good on Patrick, because if you notice when Patrick went on Joe Rogan, he wasn't playing full with Joe Rogan, if you saw that interview. Like they kind of were butting heads a little bit. So I don't think that he believes in the globe. And for him to have Bryce on for 2.5 hours or so and gave him 30 minutes on Flat Earth, I was like, okay.
Wow. Oh, so this was like a UFC podcast.
No. This was on Patrick's. He just had him as a guest.
I don't know who that is. Like, what kind of audience were they preaching to? I like it when we'll preach some Flat Earth to an audience that's not even conspircy minded at all. That's the best.
Valuetainment is his website or his YouTube channel. Valuetainment. They have like 5 million followers.
Yeah, a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll work.
If you look at the Patrick Bet David, who owns Valuetainment, I think it's at like 500,000 views in like a week, that interview.
Very nice.
So it's waking a lot of people up. Like, and then now, as you know, Eddie Bravo woke up Roseanne Barr, and now Roseanne Barr is going around talking about Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you like to see, because if they're on a conspiracy podcast and they're talking about that, probably a lot of the audience has already heard about it before. But if it's just a generic podcast or something that's not conspiracy centric, it really helps push it out and at least get people thinking about, different ideas.
Oh, I know how we got here. So what I was saying was about the frequency thing. So when NASA releases their Photoshop images, some people think that they are real because of the frequency that they are on. And when certain people are on other frequencies, they see it and say, well, that's totally fake. So I don't argue with people anymore when they look at a NASA image and say, oh, this is real. And I'm like, how can you think it's real? My blood starts boiling. And then I realize that they're obviously on a different wavelength. They're on a different frequency. Their soul is turned off. Their God particles turned off. Their angels are turned off. Whatever it is that they can't. So they believe that, they drank the Kool-Aid and they think it tastes good. Whereas, and I also think that part of that too is why they pushed all these stupid Marvel movies on adults for the last 15 years. It was to acclimate people into shitty CGI. It's just
get
facts.
used to it. There you go.
Yeah, they get used to it because if you look at these Marvel movies and you see adults in the fucking 45, 50 years old, whoa, he got lasers coming out of his hands. Whoa. I'm like, that looks so fake. It didn't even interest me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was the worst CGI of the worst CGI. So I think that's part of the reason why they keep
So
making
bad.
shitty movies.
They do. I've said stuff about that before. Like, it freaks me out how two people can literally look at a picture of
Right.
a high altitude thing and they're like, look, it's curved. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, what are you seeing? And I'll put a ruler on it and it's not curved, but they still see it curved. So,
Well, these are the same people that say I believe it because I saw it on TV.
yeah.
It's like, you know, and they're like, but I was on the airplane, yeah, and the windows are curved. I'll show you the patent for them.
I know.
Like,
They don't look that far.
Yeah, they can't look that far. It's cognitive dissonance. It's like the people that build a house at the bottom of a volcano, and then when it goes off, go, send me money. We need help. You know, why did you build your house at the bottom of the volcano? Like, that's my question.
Always thought that.
I know.
Like, you're on your own, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you know. So for me, I laugh at, you know, like I've woken people up to the flat earth thing, you know, before. I know I have, you know, I've turned people on to it and they've, you know, I changed their life. I know this, but it's like, it's for me, what woke me up to that. It was 2014 and I was watching again, just whatever it was, you know, Fox News or CNN. And they showed the dark side of the moon and the earth video. And you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it was like 2014. I was sitting on the sofa. I was sitting on the sofa eating literally a bowl of mac and cheese with hot dogs. And I saw this image and I said to myself, I'm so confused. This is a live image of what? This is clearly fake. And then they came out and said, no, this is a live image. I went on NASA's website and I said, they're claiming that this is real? I said, I screenshotted it and I just did it, you know, I put the picture into Photoshop and I just, you know, changed a couple of parameters and you can see the stitching.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was,
nice.
So I was like, I'm so confused. This is a stitched Photoshop image. And then it like really changed my mind in my life because then I started doing that with all of NASA's images. And what do you know? They were all so Photoshopped and stitched. And then I started thinking about it and I'm like, wait a second, how much money does NASA make per day? And then I was like, wait a second, I'm not moving. If I jump up right now, I'm going to go down in the exact same position I jumped up from.
Bro, it's because the atmosphere is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour with the Earth, bro.
Haven't you ever been in a train car before?
Right,
you can jump up all day and won't go anywhere.
You want to laugh? I asked. I knew a couple pilots, and I fucking woke them up so bad. I said, let me ask you a question. To go over the curvature, do you have declination on the stick? And they go, what do you mean? I said, well, are you declinating on the stick? And they're like, no. I'm like, so how is the plane going over the curvature if you're not making it go down? So one of the pilots looked at me and he goes, well, gravity. I said to him, so you mean to tell me that gravity, this magical force, knows to push the plane's nose down over the curvature, yet lets a butterfly roam free? And he looked at me and said, well, it's quantum mechanics and it's quantum physics. I said, where did you get this idea of this magical force? Star Wars? And I said, why do you think they make these movies? They're making you believe. They're acclimating you. It's a slow drip. So now you believe in this force that's imaginary. And then you're not pushing down on the nose of the plane. So gravity is. But so gravity knows you're coming. So it's smart now, right? And it's waiting for you to push you down. But the bird is just flying whichever direction it wants. And it's like, and I woke up two pilots, by the way. I won't give their names because one's still flying. So and they actually woke them up, and their minds were blown. I talked to surveyors on the street who were surveying, and I literally said to them, "Do you take the 8-inch per square mile drop into account when you're building this bridge?" No. And they literally said to me, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
I said, "You're building pillars, columns, and you're not taking into account the 8-inch per square mile drop." And they literally said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I was like, okay.
That's all I needed to know.
Yeah, that's all I needed to know. Yeah. And then, of course, in Australia right now, they're building bricks and buildings upside down. You know. Yeah.
Love that one.
Yeah, I know. It's like right now. So somebody's walking their dog upside down. Little, oh, come here, Fluffy. Oh, you know.
I know. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
But the Earth is so big.
Yeah.
Don't you know that?
100%. The black cube. Remember, the black cube is your TV, and the black cube all Hollywood, all the Jesuits, the Freemasons, all of it was just to acclimatize you into the narrative that they were pushing. All the sci-fi movies, every TV show, everything you grew up loved and cherished and watched, and you bought the doll and the poster and the book. All of it was just to push a fake agenda. That's it.
Yep.
How do
Just
you,
One of the hardest parts.
Yep.
We've talked about that many times about how they just want to fucking ruin everything for you.
Everything.
That's all they want to do.
You know, I was a Trekkie too when I was 12, and then it's like, yeah, and then you get older and you're like, oh my god, this is like, it's not even a fantasy story. It's just stupid. It's just stupid programming. You know, it's like I can't even watch it because I know that this whole thing was invented just to hold people down. And it's like fuck, I'll just watch something else. Like,
yeah. So even if even if the 5G isn't doing anything to us physically, you know, it's still a cause of a lot of problems.
100%. I haven't seen a bee. I'm in Miami. I haven't seen a fucking bee. I in the parks. I got 2 parks by my house. I have not even seen a bee whiz past my ear. Flies. There's nothing. It's strange. It's really weird.
Yeah, so they get the frequency is killing them, and then the frequency also gets to deliver everything to us at the speed of a bullet. You know,
right?
It's a bummer. Wish we could go, but I mean, at least like, you know, when the internet first came out, at least you could escape from it.
Right.
Now you're just attached to it 24/7, and even if you don't want to be, you know, you usually have a job or something else.
3 jobs these days.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. For real.
I got a question. How do you incorporate all this knowledge that you've acquired into what you do in photography? What you know what I mean?
All I do is I write words in certain places, take a picture of it, and make you think of it. So, like, if you notice, I have phone booth pictures. Like, I still, you know, I find like phone booths in my neighborhood or the general area of Miami, and I write "Earth is flat" on the phone booth. I take a picture of it, and you know,
you don't have this because
you know, and it's like,
okay, wait a minute. I have a question.
Go nuts.
And Ted can vouch for me in this one. We were in Miami, and we saw what we saw flat Earth written on a fence, or what was it? A fence?
Yeah. On a. It was on like a. You know how they put the green construction fencing up? Yeah, like the mesh for construction, and they have the little holes in it. Someone painted "The Earth is flat" gigantic on it in Miami. This was years ago.
Okay. If it's paint, I did not me. I only do chalk.
Okay.
Well, okay.
I mean, it could have been chalk, I guess. I was just assuming because I was going by and it was white.
Right.
Yeah, I assumed
if it was white chalk, it probably wasn't me. But I mean, you know.
I mean, I'm not trying to put you on blast, you know.
No.
That's why he does it with chalk, man.
Yeah, that's why I do it with chalk.
He ain't gonna cause any problems.
But so like I try and like write things like, you know, I'll go to Wynwood and I'll write like, you know, flat Earth, you know, Earth is flat, think about it, or something like this on a wall with chalk or on the sidewalk, and I'll take a picture of it and I'll build a photo book with it, or, you know, or I'll look for a subject to stand by it and like look like they're confused, and like, you know, just through my art I try and wake people up. It's the best way I found, because it's the arguing with
no confrontation that way. Man.
Not only that, but you're wasting your time. If somebody has a smartphone in their hand and all they want to do is look at porn and food pictures, that's their business.
Right.
I don't want to have to spend 2 hours a day, you know, arguing with someone, giving myself a heart attack, and then at the end of the day, you don't even care. You don't care.
You know what? You're right. I quit. No.
I'm out.
It's like, you know what you know. It's like when people say like, "Oh, I love my dog." Well, okay, that's what you tell me. I believe it, but I have no proof.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're telling me these things, so I have to believe you. So it's like, for me, it's like, if you want to walk through the door, I will walk with you and help you, guide you, and like, you know, try and do what I can. Sure, absolutely. But I'm not going to literally fight you tooth and nail to make you go through the door. You're a big boy. You got a smartphone in your hand. It's 2024. It's not you know, we're not talking about Gulf Breeze UFO sightings here. It's like, you can open up to other things. Okay. If I look through your history and I see 4 hours of porn, you know what? You're a lost cause. You know, it's like, it's like, come on, like it's like, you gotta be willing to work with people who want to be worked with. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste my precious time left here, on stupidity,
And some of them are just NPCs, so
Oh,
it's
I
impossible
believe
anyway.
If you're gonna sit there and
100%.
watch porn for 4 hours, I mean, how is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't. Did it feel good? I don't understand. Did you get what you wanted? I mean,
Well, not in
it's
the
like-
first 3 hours and 58
Yeah, but maybe
minutes,
the
but those
next
last
hour.
2 were great.
And that's what I'm saying too. It's like that's why I believe not all of us are sold, because I think that some of us are just the the copies, or whatever you want to call it, the NPCs, whatever, that are here to just sway and to society to whatever direction they want to stop you from learning the full truth.
Mhm.
I really, I mean, I don't even have to get into the Bible or religion. We don't even have to do it. Just makes sense just when you think about it, because it's just like, well, how is this person this just cognitively dumb? How are you this ignorant? And then like you're an adult and you're born in America, and like you had AC, heat, like it doesn't make sense. Like you have a fridge full of food, probably 2. You had a new car, leather. How? So it's like.
Yeah.
Yes, I've said that before too. It's like, do you think that are these actual people, or are they rendered by the system? Who knows, man? Do they automatically get their debit card just filled up every month?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I equate it to? All these rioters that they bus in. Okay, if you look at the Capitol riots that just took place, 4 days ago, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
the buses were filmed coming in and dropping off all the rioters. So who are these people? Where do they live? Who's funding them? Who's feeding them? They sign NDAs, but none of them still come forward. So that leads me to believe that most of them are not what we think they are. And this is where it gets conspiratorial, because even if you sign an NDA, it shouldn't be too hard to find you. Why can't we find these people? Why none of them come forward and say, yeah, I was paid to be here? So I think this is going into something else sinister, whether it's underground military bases, or they're living the New Schwaben land beyond the ice wall, whatever it is. But there's something else going on, because how do you get 4 buses of rioters to show up during the day and nobody saw the buses and where they came from? No,
Yeah.
How do you get 4 buses filled of young people filled with rage and they just show up? I can't get 4 people to go to a fucking Dolphins game with me.
I don't even know if they have to pay them. They just probably would tell them that they're immune from getting busted,
right,
and go have
that's
your
my
fun.
point.
You know,
It's like so something nefarious is going on. And by the way, even look again, even if you don't like the government, why would you want to go out and hurt and maim and destroy and set on fire? The way to change things is intellectually, is minds and hearts. You don't change after you burn your city down. There's no city, so who's going to build it? It's like,
they're manipulating people's emotions for sure. I got an example of this too that can back up, what you're saying with the buses chartered in. And when I was in 2021 during the summer of love, I was living in Kansas City, and I never would have believed this, because I try not to just believe everything I see online. A lot of it is bullshit, so it's best to try and confirm for yourself, or at least take a second to look around at what's going on around you. And when I was there during the riots, there were pallets of bricks placed all over the place, dude.
100%.
Saw it with my own eyes, and I was just like, I can't even believe this, man. Can't even believe it.
Absolutely.
In a smaller city too, of all places, and it was just coordinated. I guarantee you, those were in, every decent metropolitan area, and it's.
Yeah.
If you don't think you're being played, man, and manipulated, just look at that. That's all you need.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so now going back to your 5G thing, it's like, well, okay, does the 5G frequency, is that how they program the NPCs and the soulless people? Is that how it works? Because you can't program me. I'm unprogrammable. You can't, I'll die before you program me. You can't tell me I have to take a vaccine. You can't tell me I have to go to war. You can't tell me I have to riot. I will slit my own wrist and I still win, because you didn't get what you wanted out of me, and I didn't do what you told me to do. So it's a win-win. So it's like, so how are these people being able to be programmed like this? So clearly it goes into the 5G. Is it the 5G network programming a soulless people that have their angels turned off, their God particle turned off, whatever you want to call it? Or they're just manufactured, like, Phil Schneider said, the Dulce base, and, there was down, whatever, 800 feet, and then they killed them. But I mean, are they manufactured in the deep underground military bases? Or do they come from New Schwabenland? Whatever it is, something weird is going on because it doesn't make sense. How you have Americans
system.
Yeah, it's like how do you have white
education system?
Indoctrination system.
Right. Yeah, but
Yes.
solar system. I mean,
solar system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they're kind of just putting you through these obstacles and testing you along the way, and they're placing you where they need you to go, and they see the ones they can control.
Right.
Trust me, they know early on. So they're gonna be pushed right over into drama and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden take on these small little acting jobs. Look, look locally and
Right.
hey, this pays $75 an hour to be a crisis. What is a crisis actor? That sounds cool. You know what I mean? And they get these people there and they pump them up, and they're going through classes there too. I've seen some behind the scenes videos. You know what I mean? They're sitting there giving them classes on like why they're doing what they're doing, and they're just getting them angry, and then they feed them a little bit, then they get them more angry, and then they give them some money, and then you know what I mean? So they're definitely putting them through this process, right?
No, 100%. They're manufactured some way,
Right.
shape, or form.
You're right. What does it take for that person to get to that point? I
That's
think
the mystery.
Right. And there are two types of people, just like you said, the ones that can be controlled and the ones that can't. And the ones that can't typically get everything taken away from them. It's the
Right.
ones that can control that things get given to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's pretty wild, man. But there's division, right? That's how you get division, and that's how you can sew that in. Oh well, look at that person. They have all that. You don't have anything. Let's take it away.
Yeah.
And they never gave us that option, so now we're mad. But hey, it's a vicious cycle, and here we are. I bet you never thought. Did you think that now, 30 years ago, when you were waking up, that you'd ever see this day now when we're actually going through what appears to be a worldwide awakening?
No, because I'm going to tell you, I remember getting into argument, specifically, even in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was turning people onto cattle mutilations and black helicopters and whatever, or Oklahoma City and all the nonsense that went on with that. 100% inside job. And it's like, I remember turning people onto that, and I would get laughed at. And I had people arguing with me and want to physically fight me. And then fast forward to where we are now. And like I said, you can literally go up to the average person and ask them, hey, do you know who the Skull and Bones are? And they're like, oh yeah, they have 5 presidents. And it's like, and meanwhile, 30 years ago, if I said that, you would look at me like I was crazy. It's like, so you see that
pirates.
Yeah.
So
So the awakening that's happening, they're going to have to stop it, because eventually, they're losing their power. We know about the Bohemian Grove. Did you see the video of Dancer? The guy, there's a guy on YouTube. Type in Dancer.
Yep.
He literally broke into the Bohemian Grove and filmed the whole thing, and it's got millions of views on YouTube. And it's like the average person who's just a train hopper knows about the Bohemian Grove, and they break in, and it's like, we're at the point now, whereas I was telling people about the Bohemian Grove when I was listening to Alex Jones on shortwave radio in 1996. Yes, that's right. And he woke me up to Bohemian Grove, and then I woke people up to it because I went to the bookstore and I got books on it and researched it, and then I got newspaper clippings, and I put a whole thing together. I was getting laughed at. Now, it's like you go on YouTube, yeah, they're in Bohemian Grove again. Who cares? It's like, so they're losing their power. So how are they going to keep their power? They obviously have to do something. Whatever that something is, of course, they want their one world government. They want their C40 cities. And yes, I'm in Miami, and Miami is a red state, right? But yet Miami is on the C40 city list. Yep. So the whole DeSantis bullshit in the red state, it's all theater. It's all bullshit, because Miami is 100% on the C40 list. I even tweeted about it a couple weeks ago. I took screenshots and I wrote about it. So, they want their one world government, right? Okay, UN Agenda 2030, migrant replacement, whatever it is. They can't get their one world government, though, because there's still too many Americans here that are actually, and there's too many people awakening, and there's too many people that are armed. And it's like, how are they going to get rid of those people? So to me, that's the next target wave, that they have to eliminate the people who want to protect freedoms and protect their God-given rights and inalienable rights, and want to have a peaceful first world nation. They got to get rid of them. So obviously in Europe, they're just doing it through migrant replacement, refugees. They're getting rid of it that way. Over here, they're going to have to do something else. Like,
I mean, they're kind of doing that here too.
yeah, they are. Well,
yeah. Hold up, before you go any further, can you tell myself, and our audience what is the C40? Because I was a little bit lost there for a second.
Okay, so C40 are 15-minute futuristic cities where they want you to live. Yeah. So there's a list. If you go on c40.org, there's about 20 cities on there, and guess what? Half of them are from red states. Austin's on there, Dallas is on there, I believe Miami's on there. And so their whole goal is through their through their brainwashing is, they want you to live upstairs in some prisons, stack and pack apartment building that you pay $5,000 a month for. They want you to go downstairs to the grocery store, buy GMO food. You will own nothing and be happy. You'll work from your house. You'll go outside to the park that's filled with pesticides for 5 minutes a day, and then you go back in your house for lockdown. That's basically what it is. It's funded. Again, I see them doing it here. I believe. Again, I see what they're doing, like with Midtown and certain areas in Miami. I 100% believe that those are the actual C40 cities. Like that's the blueprint.
Billy used to live down here where I do, and I send him pictures all the time. Like, oh look, another building. Like, you can't even see the fucking sky
They're putting
anymore.
Buildings on top of buildings. How can you?
And they're not updating any of the underneath infrastructure, none of the sewage, none of anything. They're just stacking up, and that's it. So now where there used to be 10 houses with maybe 15 toilets, there's 250 units in one place and 5 of those buildings on the same infrastructure underneath. Like, it's not looking good, man.
When all the snowbirds come down here, they scream about the fake climate crisis.
Yeah,
they go, oh my! Every time it rains, they go, oh my God, it's raining. There's a flood. I'm like, yeah, because this place was built on top of a swamp.
Yeah.
So the water has nowhere to drain. Water can't drain into water. So swamp, it can't absorb it. So the sewage system is so backed up that the water, so when it rains here in Miami, it floods in like 5 minutes. And then they all freak out.
You guys had a bad flood a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah. Yes. There were kayaks in my neighborhood. It was ridiculous. And they all come down here and they start screaming, oh, we got to give up our rights because, if I pay more money in taxes, and then
they'll fix the roads and the sewage.
Fix this. Dude, I tell anybody, go to Midtown Miami or Brickell. They put so many buildings that you can't see sky anymore, as you said.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's a stack and pack system that they're building. And this goes into the C40 cities, the 15-minute cities, that they're building them as blueprints. And then they're starting them. It's just, the whole thing is ridiculous. And then we're a rich state. We're against globalism. And we're against this is where woke comes to die. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Right. Okay.
Unreal, dude. Yeah,
it is. So that's what I'm saying is like this whole thing here, how they're going to get they're losing their power because of the great awakening, the great consciousness awakening. They're losing their power. They're going to have to keep it somehow because too many people are saying, hey, we need to roll the guillotines up to the door.
Yeah.
It's
something big has to happen either way. We're at the precipice, if you will.
That paired with the fact that they're trying to make everyone's lives as miserable as possible, so people will just be totally begging for it and open to it. They don't even want their freedom anymore.
Is easy to control.
Absolutely.
And weak men are easy to control. Feminize everyone, break them, weaken everybody
up.
Give
them shit food, water,
shit water.
Everything. Entertainment, I guess you would call it, but it's not even entertainment anymore. It's all propaganda.
Yeah,
it's all Pravda, everything now.
They're rewriting history. They got the new Gladiator. Denzel Washington is the Roman Empire. Come on, it's like, what is this?
I know.
What the fuck? Like, can I make a movie about Nelson Mandela and have Jackie Chan play him? Please.
I mean, I would watch that.
I would watch it too,
for sure. And did he die in prison or what happened there?
Yeah, right.
Fucking Mandela.
Yeah,
the Jackie Chandela effect, bro.
Dude, you know what? Let's talk about Mandela effect for a second. My first Mandela effect was actually Mandela. I remember watching the funeral on CNN in 2013. And about a year or two later, he was giving a press conference, and I turned to my at the time girlfriend and I said, "Didn't he die?" And she said, "Yeah, I thought he did." And I said to her, "But we watched the funeral for like a second. It was in the background while we were, eating dinner or something. It was like just out in the background." And
Eating
she was
dinner.
like,
I got you, bro.
Right. And she
Okay.
was like, yeah, I thought we did. And I said, that's really fucking weird. And then that was my first time when I realized there's something going on. Again, is it a simulation? Is it a broken simulation? Is it, what is it? I mean, it's theater. I mean, it has predictive programming. It's everything.
Dude, I always say I don't know exactly what it is. The only thing I am sure of is that it's not a spinning ball hurling through space.
100%.
I know it's not that. It could be a lot of other things, but it is not that. That's all I know.
When you look at the names, right? Extraterrestrial, it just means extra terrain.
Yep.
Outer space, out of our space. Astronaut, astronaut. Solar system, solar system. I can keep going. It's like founded. Found dead. So all the Tartarian cities was founded in 1812. So you found this city empty and dead. Found dead.
Yeah,
so you
I know
name.
That's a good one to me. It's fucking
great one.
And so something that I wanted to talk about with you, which you said it in that little documentary I watched that dude made, and it kind of got. I mean, you talked about it, but it kind of got passed over, and I feel like it gets passed over a lot. Because it's much bigger than people talk about, is the planned obsolescence of products.
Yeah.
Because I feel like part of that whole thing is that crosses over into your relationships. As cheesy as it sounds, like Tyler Durden saying, on the airplane, everything's single serving friends. Like I feel like that's kind of what they want to do. They want to make everything a quick turnaround, so nothing is important.
Culture.
Yeah, exactly. It goes everywhere, and I feel like that's just part of it. People are like, man, my light bulbs don't last as long as they used to. Like it's much bigger than that, man. It's so much bigger. That's a tiny piece.
I used to work at a car dealership. It was a GM car dealership selling cars, right? And this is what woke me up to actually planned obsolescence. This was like 2008 or 9. I literally witnessed every single person come in, and the guy behind the desk would say the exact same thing, and it really woke me up. When a person brings their brand new General Motors car, whatever it's an Escalade, Camaro, does not matter. When they would bring it in, the first thing the person behind the counter would ask them is, how many miles are on the car? Then they would type it in the little computer. Then they would type in the VIN, and guess what? All the parts that were designed to fail were there, so they would put it on the computer to see which one it was, and it would be fixed in two minutes, but they would overcharge the customers. I said to the guy one day, who was he was underneath the owner. I said to the guy one day, I said, hey, how do you know that if a person has 37,000 miles on their Escalade that the door switch goes bad, for example? He said to me, the only way that we make money in the car industry is on the back end through parts. They make no money on the cars. It's a total loss. The only way to be profitable is through parts. So he goes, the parts are just designed to fail. And he said it to me like that. And I went, what? And he goes,
it was no big deal.
Right. And I said to myself, this person just paid $600 for a fucking door switch on an Escalade. And I'm like, it's, the car. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. How do all these new cars, you go to any dealership, all except for I'm talking about American, not Hondas and stuff. You go to the dealership, the cars all the guts are just ripped out. They're all on the lifts and they're all brand new. It's like,
I fucking really wish Death was here because he's a mechanic and he would be like, shit, yeah, man, I know all about that.
100%.
And it's like, so the whole thing woke me up to that. And then you start doing the research, and then I started telling people about it. And then lo and behold, then finally Apple got sued for it. And then it's like they lost.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because Ted and I used to. Oh, remember we had conversations about like they're getting us dude with this iOS thing, and they're basically like running us, forcing us to upgrade our phones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ridiculous, dude. Like we just got this, and now we can't even use it anymore.
You can't upgrade the apps. The battery is built in, so you can't replace the battery too.
Yep.
I would stop upgrading, and my stuff would work better. Like the upgrades they're giving you are making your phone obsolete. Like it'll still work if you stick with that, but as soon as you update, you're screwed.
And like now we're at the point where I say to people, and they're like, "Oh, I got the new iPhone 75, and it costs $3,000." And I'm like, "But what does it do that the iPhone 74 didn't do?" Like
they're like, "Well, it's a 22nd of an inch bigger screen," and
And it
And I'm
had
like-
7 cameras.
Yeah,
It's got a 10 more megapixel camera. Yes.
Yeah.
And if
I'm
you're
like,
ever kidnapped, it folds up and inserts in your anus, so you
Right,
can find
right.
it later. Like, come on, man.
and it's at the point now where it's like where I don't know how the sales are, but I don't know if people are still even buying into this, that you need a new fucking iPhone every 6 months or whatever, a new Galaxy for what reason?
Yes, dude. The stock just keeps going up and up and up. But
Yep.
are
That's
people
like
really
the
buying
problem.
this? I remember when the stock shot up like crazy right after those goggle things came
Oh,
out.
Mhm.
And they said this was going to be the game changer that changes the whole entire
what-
world. And
Yeah.
like 175 people bought it.
I know.
Remember
And
when
they
they
all
said
look
that?
retarded, so they couldn't
Dude,
even
do
wear it
you-
anymore because everyone was making fun of them.
Do
It's
you guys remember?
crazy.
I know this is off topic, but I'm sure it'll spark something good. Do you remember
will.
before Segways came out, there was like
Puff Daddy.
news broadcasts every night about a new product coming out from this company that's going to change the way.
Yeah,
in,
I do.
in 3
I do.
years, it'll be in every American's
I
house.
remember that.
Dude,
I
they
remember
hyped it so much, and then it
I
came
know.
out, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You remember Puff Daddy on MTV?
Oh, I know.
Remember he was on
yes.
that show he had, Making the Band. He was on the thing every 5 minutes.
I
He-
know. I mean, he
couldn't-
probably got a lot of money for that.
Of
I'm
course,
sure.
he couldn't walk.
Remember
from
George
one office
Bush
to
on
the
one?
other. Yes. Yeah, it
So-
was so.
They wanted everybody on that so bad. I feel like that was part of the trying to integrate people into the transhumanism bullshit. You don't
Yeah.
need to walk, eat sugar and cheeseburgers and ride on this thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just gonna say, and that ties in because I feel like that was the healthcare industry that wanted that thing to trend. Because
Yeah, right.
A, what your point said, but also
Wally.
B, because nobody can drive that thing, and they're gonna be busting their asses left and right,
Well, you remember
falling
Wally,
off of it.
right?
Yeah.
Did you see the movie Wally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like everybody is being transported that's morbidly obese, and it's like a combination. We're in a combination of like Wally, Idiocracy, and They Live in 1984.
Dude,
Yeah.
Idiocracy is almost like a documentary now, man. For
Did you
real.
the wrestler?
With Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
yes, and Terry. Like, did you see the edited video where it was put
Yeah.
back to back? I was
Yep.
like, oh my god. Oh
Do you
yeah,
know-
it's
do you know-
all a show. It's
you know Jake the
all a
Asshole?
show. I don't
Do you know?
think so.
Oh well, he has a YouTube.
I've heard
channel.
of that. I've heard of him before.
Yeah, he's a flat earther who also is really good at gambling, so that's why I watch him. But his actual YouTube name.
Oh
is
wait,
Jake the
yes,
Asshole.
yes. Matt has told us about him for sure.
Yeah,
yes,
some-
dude,
I
was
that's
gonna say
hilarious. Okay,
Yeah.
I just put it together. Who it is? Yes,
He's a little wacky, but he's
Yes.
really good.
Okay.
yeah,
and-
that's him. Yeah,
And he did
Rear end.
2 weeks before. He actually said they're gonna bring Hulk Hogan and like to do the whole shtick. And he literally then did the live stream after it happened. He goes, "I told you,"
Oh
and
my
he
God.
literally he mirrored it and he called it too. And he actually was like going like the mega powers and stuff. Like he went into the whole thing hard before it happened. And I was like, "Holy shit, this dude is weird. Like, how would you even? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was
Was
like,
he
how
doing
would
it
you
as
do
a
that?
joke or was he serious?
No, he was serious. He was like, "This is what they're gonna do," and he went into it. It was like it was like a week or 2 or 3 before the actual Hogan incident happened, and then like when Hogan was actually referencing, Macho Man, Jake the Asshole was actually mentioning Macho Man before he was like, they're gonna do the whole Mega Powers thing. I was like, what? And then it happened. I was like, you know what? This Jake guy is right on gambling and a few other things.
I should maybe listen to him a little bit.
Pretty
Yeah, he's a
wild.
little wacky, but he's really good. I'm telling you, if you do football betting, he's no joke. He's serious. Like he's really good.
So I
He's
guess
made a
it's
lot of
safe
people
to
a
say
lot
that
of money.
he's great at predictions.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
If you have a Hard Rock account in football
Does he
season,
have
I'm
the
telling you.
script?
Yeah. Then you get
That's what it
because you, I'm sure like what Bill's getting at, right? Is this you agree this is all a big show, right? None of
100%.
this is real. There's
Theater.
masks everywhere. People are
Yes.
dead that are pretending to still be alive. Like all of it.
Did you see the fucking movie? They cloned Tyrone.
No, I can't.
heard about
That's
this,
been
though.
on my damn
Dude,
list, and I
They-
keep forgetting to
that
watch
movie
it.
is actually, I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
heard
That
it's
movie
really
is 100% soft disclosure.
Yeah.
100%. I remember. I lived in like lower income areas for a large portion of my life. So, and when I tell you, I got chills a few times. I was like, this is what they've been doing. And they're now the revelation of the method. They're telling you so they don't feel guilty. And they're telling you what they're doing as part of their ritual. And
Yep,
it's like,
they have to, man.
they have to, right. It's like, look, not for nothing. Look, just because you don't believe it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. So, like, here, if I tell you tonight, I'm going to break into your house at 9 o'clock, I'm going to come in through the bedroom window, and I'm going to take all your jewelry. If you don't do anything to stop me, like lock the window, get a gun, get a dog, live in a different room, call security, I don't feel guilty because I told you what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you let it happen. So that's what it is.
That's right.
So it's like so this movie, they clone Tyrone. OMG. I don't care. 100% soft disclosure. That movie should be everybody needs to watch that movie immediately. It is. I won't even tell you about it until you start watching, and you're gonna go, "Oh shit!" Like that's really what they're doing. Like they go into the cloning centers underneath the cities. They go into the food poisoning mixtures that like reprogram your brain. They go into like how the society is not real. They're actually clones, and they're scientists that are controlling. I was like, "Oh fuck." Yeah,
dude. If someone told me this shit 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. Actually, I mean, 10, yeah, I would have still been like, you're out of your fucking mind. Definitely go get a tinfoil hat. Now, nothing is out of the realm that I won't talk about it, but I'm fully convinced that 100% of what we get through that box, through radio, everything is a planned, coordinated thing for some end purpose.
Right.
And it's a nefarious end purpose. 100%. I just don't know exactly where they're going. That's all.
That's why I this is what the whole thing is. I've all these years have now stepped back, and I still do my artwork, of course, but I've stepped back personally, and I'm like, I think that like Occam's razor, the simplest answer is the correct one. I think in this sense, it is correct that this is just for some nefarious thing. We're living in some sort of simulation type situation where we are being harvested or harnessed for some other's food supply or something. Because if you think of it, like plants that live on photosynthesis, right?
Our energy of some sort,
something. It's like if you look at plants, right? So they feed off photosynthesis, so they're living off that. Okay, hydrothermal vents. Hydrothermal vents release toxic mercury at boiling levels in the bottom of the ocean. Yet there's shrimp colonies, there's worm tubes. It's like for us, I think that there's a higher entity that we're not aware of, whether it's the reps, whatever it is, that's just feeding off of this energy.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what I was thinking about when you started talking about the 15-minute cities. And I was like, well, what? And I started just thinking to myself, what is the purpose of this? Like, why do they want to, bring us down so badly? And I mean, do they feed off of the lower vibrations? And
100%.
It'd be more efficient in a 15-minute city too if everyone was just drugged out and bummed out all the time.
Yeah, and then if you set up a base underneath them and you could feed 24 hours a day, but if a person is living happy and healthily on a farm somewhere with their dirt bikes and a gun eating organic food, it's kind of hard to harvest their energy because they're
harvesting themselves.
Yeah, it's like
or giving it out to the others around them.
Yeah,
that's probably why they don't want us to be connected.
Yeah,
the 6-foot rule, everything, man. We're all connected.
100%. So if we're in this lower vibrational state, we're easier. Look, the thing is like going like to the average person when you try and wake them up. If you tell them this, of course they're gonna look at you like you're a wackadoo. But at the same time, all roads lead to Rome. It's like at the end of the day, it's not just as simple as it's this one group. It's like it's the Bilderbergers. Yeah, but where are they getting their orders from? Oh, it's the Skull and Bones. Right. It's the Rothschild
fallen angels.
It's like it's the Rothschilds. Okay, but where are they get? Do you know about that cop that blew the whistle on the Freemasons? Do you know about this guy?
Yes, I remember him.
Right. So he went forward and said that the great beast, the dark beast, actually lives in the house of the Rothschilds in England, and he said that the Rothschilds take their order from the beast. I'm just saying that if you think it's just some nefarious, some group of politicians that get together that can orchestrate this type thing, I hate to tell you, but it can't be, because people can't harness this type of power. Something else is going on.
We've said it before. It's a generational plan. No human being plans 3 generations ahead
No.
of how they're going to do something. And this has been going on too long. So whatever's planning this, whoever created the heliocentric model with
Right.
all the perfect things. I mean, I know they reverse engineered it and all that, but it's too perfect for too long of a fucking excuse that to get to where we are now, this was planned hundreds of years ago. No human lives that long. No human cares that much.
Right.
It's not humans. It's something beyond us. That's all I know. I don't know what it is, but it's something evil and beyond us.
Yeah, that's my conclusion too. Is because, hey, look, everybody says, oh, I'm going to vote this year. Well, voting for the last 200 years has gotten you the same people to vote for. So you're telling me after 150 years of voting in the system and 350 million people to choose from, we're choosing from a Clinton, a Trump, a Kennedy, a Bush, an Obama. We have the same families to choose from. So therefore, power is selected, not elected. So now these people that are put in power, where are they? How are they put in power? By who? By what? How are they able to maintain this family structure for so long and avoid persecution and corruption, war crimes, everything that Bush Sr. did? I mean, my God, the guy should be in jail for 5 lives for what he did. But meanwhile, he's scot-free, right? And then it's like, so how are they able to maintain this perceived power? Because that's what they have, perceived power. So obviously the people above them that are pulling the strings, they're much more powerful than they are. It's like, so, okay, but where are they getting their power from? And the next thing you know, it's like, well, the families go from like 13, and then the families are going down to 2. And then next thing you know, you're like, well, all right, well, who's in charge of those 2 families? And well, obviously it has to be some sort of evil entity. It has to.
Dude.
Right.
The Rothschilds are like regional managers.
Right,
And then
exactly.
The royalties like a district manager. Like that's all it is. The top, the CEO, we don't even know their name. We've never heard of them.
They don't
That's
have
where it's at. The
a
people
credit
we
card,
know,
driver's license.
Anybody who we know, we're allowed to know.
Right.
Period. Because they control every bit of information we get. Period.
It's 100%. So that's what I'm saying. All roads lead to there's something going on that we can't possibly understand. It's like I used to get into argument. I still get into arguments about the moon. I've been photographing the moon for a long time. Okay, I can tell you, not just beside the lunar wave, I have photographed odd things, anomalies on the moon. So I've gotten into serious arguments, even though I have proof through photographs of what I captured on the moon.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're not supposed to actually know. If we did, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in as this human. So we can argue till the cows come home. We're still not right, because if we were, we would be building this thing, not in the thing.
Dude, but did you ever photograph the rover on the moon? Because they left it there, You should be able to see that.
American flag.
Yeah. Dude, what's so cool about that is literally, so again, I didn't know you were a flat earther. I had no idea about your cosmology, but I knew you were a photographer, and I was going to bring up long distance photography and the moon with you. So you already brought it up. Funny. I love it.
Now, before we argue, I can send them to you. I have photographed weird or not. I'm not going to call them structures. Okay, we're not going to go down that whole road. But I have photographed odd things on the moon that should not be there because they have right angles and cast shadows. Am I saying the moon is solid? No. Am I saying it's hollow? No. Am I saying I know 100% what it is? No. I'm just saying I took a picture and there's an anomaly. That's it.
That's where we're at too. We don't know what it is. We just know what it's not.
Right.
It's not a rock orbiting us.
Right.
So
yeah,
other
dude,
than that, we're open.
You and me kind of see it the same way, and I think probably part of it is because of how much time you've spent examining the moon, and I've done the same. And I've come to the conclusion that we weren't supposed to find out, and I feel like it was designed to fool us into thinking one thing, but also for us not to be able to find out.
And I tell people all the time, until you've seen a lunar wave, you can't speak. Because when you see the lunar wave, you will then say, wait, what is that thing? Is it a simulation? Is it a projection? How is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who doesn't know who's listening, can you describe what the lunar wave is? Which I've also heard it referred to as a firmament wave because it happens across things besides the moon. But the moon's just the easiest to see it because it's the biggest and closest or whatever. But describe what it is as you saw it happening, because I've never seen it in person.
The lunar wave is not rolling Shutterstock, okay? It is not a camera defect. It is not anything whatsoever that can be duplicated a million times with a camera for that particular thing. It's something that happens infrequently. There is no reason or why it happens. It's an actual digital artifact, if you will. I don't know how to explain it. It looks like a digital clear wave that goes from the top of the moon to the bottom of the moon, like a wave, like a ripple wave, a digital wave. And it's something that it just comes and goes. There's many people have recorded it. I mean, Crow 777 has recorded it. Bruce Cezol has recorded it. There's other people on YouTube that have recorded not once and multiple times. Like Bruce Cezol, I think he just recorded it 2 or 3 times. And this guy's got a 14-inch telescope camera. He's got like a $30,000 system in his living room. He has the best moon footage that I've seen on YouTube. And he still believes in round Earth and all this bullshit. But the point is, just look at the moon stuff. I mean, he's recorded UFOs on the moon. He's recorded TR-3Bs. I mean, anyway, the point is the lunar wave, once you start looking into it, you're like, wait a second, a rock can't do that. Then you say, but okay, so if it's a projection and it's not really there, but then it's like, but I've taken pictures of anomalies on the moon that cast shadows and have right angles. So I'm back to square one.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like I said, I can send you stuff that I've taken, and
I've seen it. Anybody who doesn't know, it's actually not like a perfectly straight line. It's kind of curved in its way, and you see the moon behind it being displaced, the image of it as it moves across, almost as if you were looking at something through a ripple in water. But one single ripple, almost like that.
Yeah,
it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar.
To me, it kind of looks like when your computer screen refreshed back in the day, like a Macintosh, like the old Macs, and you'd see that line just go
like
down the screen.
Rate,
yeah.
You younger folk aren't gonna understand what we're talking about.
Your Mac Cube.
Shit used to happen all the time when I was playing Oregon Trail.
Oh wow!
Oh, man. Well, then you got cholera and died anyway. So.
Dysentery.
Yeah.
Do you want to laugh? Do you know that if you play Oregon Trail now in the what is that? The Apple? What's the game? What's the Apple Arcade?
Oh yeah.
There's an Apple Arcade subscription. It's like $6 a month where you could play like 40 games in the Apple Arcade or whatever. Okay. But I'm not kidding you. Oregon Trail is in there. If you before you go to play it, there's a warning that the game may be offensive.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Go into Apple Arcade, subscribe for the 1 month, type in Oregon Trail. It's there, and then you'll see it. That just says this game may offend people.
Gosh.
Oh my God.
Oregon Trail.
What is wrong with people these days, man? What the? Is it like a copy of a copy thing, and we're all getting dumber because we know they repopulated with orphan trains and crap or something. Right. Something weird happened there to begin with, but
100%.
Now I feel like like we said, like we were talking about how there's 2 different types of people or whatever. I think maybe there's 3. I think there's true people who acknowledge their soul, feel it, who aren't NPCs.
That's me.
Who have an inner monologue, can picture stuff in their brain, all that. And then there's people who are capable of that, but they have it switched off. And then I think there's a third one, the people who aren't even capable of that. Like they can't even they'll never be able to because they literally don't have a soul. Right. Some people's souls are turned off, some are turned on, and some don't have one at all.
That's what
I think.
I will agree with you on it.
Like I think they're clones or copies or something that God's spark was never there because it was created outside of it. So
that's what I think part of the vaccine program is for. Why they give kids 60 vaccines by the time the kid is 5. They're shutting off the fucking soul. They're shutting off the God particle.
All of it. Dude, I've had rants with this about my wife. Like, I don't have any kids, but still, like, the second you're born, they rip you away. They cut the umbilical cord, which they shouldn't yet. They slap you. They do all this. They start injecting you. They
it's part of the abuse ritual.
It is. And then while they're simultaneously creating stocks for you on the market with your living birth certificate and your regular birth certificate and all, it's like literally like, you're dropped into a I don't even know what.
And then the second you're put into your little crib, there's a mobile of the soul lure system put above your head.
I know.
And what schools is little Johnny going to go to? Well, he's either going to go to this one and become a gay communist, or he's going to go to this one and end up being a religious nut that doesn't want to fucking eat an apple on the Sunday or something. You know, it's like, where's the happy medium? Listen, I say this all the time. Why the fuck does a 2-year-old need a hepatitis B shot? Are they going to be in a tattoo shop having sex with a whore without a condom? And
Yeah,
then
I know.
the best part is they need a booster at 6.
You know,
So you give them
just in case.
Yeah, just in case. So now your 6-year-old's going to take the car and go to Vegas for the weekend? Like, what is going on? And then the parents go, I will inject. I need to be good.
I know.
It's like, how did you get like this, dude? Like, you notice it like when a deer is born, how it's all slimy, and then like it humbles, like it stobbles around, and then it picks itself up, and then it starts like running slowly. That's life.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. That's life. You don't need to be fucking born
What if there
inside
was
of
somebody there injecting it?
Yeah. Right. Dude, do you know what's really fucked up? All those animals that they gave those COVID injections to, you see most of them have been put down, the lions and the tigers, because they all got turbo cancer.
Yeah. Dude, I
That
have
fucking pisses me off.
I have 3 people in my life who were perfectly fine before. All of them were vaccinated. One is gone now.
Yep.
One's
Sorry to hear
almost
that, bro.
gone, and the
Sorry
other
to hear
one
that.
has had multiple cancers removed, and they
Sucks.
keep fighting them off.
Sucks.
And
Sucks.
and I warned every single one of them, man. And I hate.
Did you get
I'm
them on
not the
ivermectin, by the way, to help?
the
with
one is the one finally is the one that I said that's almost gone.
Right.
Finally, I got her a Rife machine, and I got her to take ivermectin.
Okay.
And she's turning around, but
Thank
she was
God.
so far that I'm hoping she comes back. The other one, I don't think there's any talking to him about any of this. It's doctors. They know what's best. So.
And I you know what I tell people that? Go to any doctor and ask them what the appendix is for. And they're going to tell you one of two things. I don't know, or I have my own hypothesis. So you're going to tell me how to be and live my life and what I should or should not do with my body when you don't even know how the fucking thing works.
Listen, man, we don't need an appendix, but the monkeys we evolved from.
Right. You know, I had here's my theory on the appendix. During the last reset, when there was no bathrooms installed, that our appendix, we didn't produce waste. That our appendix did something with that. And then after the reset, when they installed the bathrooms, that now our appendix, they made us go to the bathroom, so they installed the toilets, and now we just have it. They couldn't get rid of it or something. That's my only theory I have on it.
And you know what backs that up? I'm gonna put some backing to this, and no one can argue this. If you have to pee, and you start getting close to home, your body knows, and that kicks in. You're trained to go use that bathroom. So don't tell me he's wrong. All right, I have proof.
Well, that's what always drives me crazy with Tartaria is the last reset or whatever, whichever reset it was, is there's no bathrooms in the buildings. Yeah. Like, how do you build this thing?
They really screwed us, man. And imagine how awesome it would be to never have to go to the bathroom.
Of course.
It's just gross.
You know? So you know,
I mean, I don't want to know what the bee holes were for then if we didn't have to do that. Actually, probably if I'm being honest, it would probably have to be gas because you're decomposing food in your body.
Right.
There would still be a use for it. So
maybe everyone knew how to eat so efficiently that their body just burned through what they ate and they didn't have to excrete it. That'd be cool.
The only thing these doctors are good for are stitches and broken bones. That's it.
Yeah, triage. Triage doctors are awesome. Orthopedic doctors, some surgeons that do like,
use your arm, fix your
bones with pins and shit. But the
medicine,
MD.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, wow. I mean, again,
there's a pill for this, and then the side effect it gives you. There's a pill for that, and then you're on the pill train. And dude, I stopped taking. So I had horrible heartburn for years. I got headaches every day. I used to take heartburn medicine and headache medicine, and one day I stopped taking them both. And you know what? I never get anymore headaches or heartburn ever. They're gone. All of those things, you get one weird thing and you take a pill for it, and then that's it. It's going to keep happening. You see
those commercials. I can't watch regular TV anymore because of those commercials. Every 5 seconds, one of these commercials come on. Do you sneeze? Well, side effects, take Zarazepam. Side effects may include brain bleeding, death. Wait, what? For sneezing? I'm going to risk what?
They're literally telling you.
Yeah. And I'm
do you get tired late at night?
Yeah.
Then take this. That's literally how it is, man.
It's crazy.
Do you sometimes smell weird things?
Yeah.
You need this pill. God. And then you see half as many commercials of, did you or someone you love take this pill?
Right.
Contact us because we're going to...
And you know what drives me crazy too is how come I don't see oil of oregano commercials on TV?
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't we see dandelion commercials
Right.
on TV? Bro?
Right. Yeah. No, that's not gonna happen, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so obviously this whole thing is funded by a consortium, hence the name of my books, Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and Volume 2. Is this whole thing is funneled and fueled by some evil entity, whatever it is, to push this agenda for their nefarious gains, and then we're here like cannon fodder, you know, and it's just, and we're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. And meanwhile, you know, we look, let's be honest, between now and election day, God only knows what the fuck's gonna happen.
I know it's cranking it up to 11, man. We're going.
Shit. I'm telling everybody out there, make sure you have a ham radio, at least a CB, something, some sort of communication. You don't have to be a prepper, but at least have a case of beans and like some water,
a big bag of rice and a case
something.
of beans, dry beans.
Something.
They're good forever. Rice and beans, and
a couple lighters. You know, obviously guns and ammo. But I mean, you know, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do, and I don't know if I want it to come or not, because it's going to be, whatever it is going to be bad.
Dude, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, it needs to happen, but I don't want it to. But it needs to, but I don't. Like, that's
because it's like, how long can
right
society go like this? Let's be honest. We need a real reset,
man.
right?
Dude, if it goes on too much longer, you know, half the country is going to be homeless.
Dude, did you see the latest news? 37% eviction spike. Did you see that?
Dude, you're down in South Florida with me. You know how bad the rent is here, how bad everything is.
Oh
man.
my
It's
God.
insane.
How do people afford it?
Dude, I have a friend they sold their house and they thought they were going to buy another one, but then the market was so expensive. So like, we're going to rent for a little while. They're paying $5,000 a month in rent. Put that out over a year,
right?
And think about how much that is. $60,000.
Whatever, yeah.
Going towards a house like that used to be able to buy you a house, dude.
With
now
property,
that
a garage with a dirt bike.
I know.
And what drives me crazy is when these landlords, these fucking greedy fucks, go, "Oh, I have to raise you up to whatever $3,000 a month from 25." I'm like, but did you do $3,000 in upgrades?
Yeah, no.
Is there heated floors? Is there a jacuzzi? Like, what did you do to now justify your $500 a month increase from last year? All I know is nothing has happened because I live in the apartment and would know. So where's the fight? And then they always pass the buck. They're like, "Oh, well, you know, it's the insurance and it's like,
insurance went up and this went up and that.
So then why are we not going to the insurance companies and saying no more? Everybody stop paying today and make the system fucking crumble. Instead, everyone just keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. Well, then you're gonna get what happens.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Pull out. Stop. Say no. I will not comply. I'm not doing it. I'm not going. I'm not participating. F you.
I was gonna say that's like if you have to, like, what's the most important thing to you? Just you think people just need to wake up? You think, like, I don't know, what's the most important message you think people need to hear that like
in today's day and age?
Yeah,
right
now.
We need to put our differences down and come together and just bring the system to a halt. Because it's the only voting. You're not going to vote your way out of this with some other corrupt Bilderberg politician.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Putting a Band-Aid on your ears not going to solve anything.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to say that, man, because I try and stay positive and preach positivity, and even if those people are getting under my skin, you know, I try and turn it around to the positive. But
these Trump people are now like the liberals with the masks, with the ear bandage. Like, it's fucking nuts. It's like, dude, you made fun of the liberals for years, citing Tucker Carlson and sending memes. Now you're walking around with a bandage on your ear, talking about he's a living god. Like, what?
Dude, we gotta show you the clip I posted it of last week. We just talked about this. Rufus was saying how the liberals are acting like the freaking conservatives, and the conservatives are acting like the liberals. Like,
the pendulum keeps swinging.
I know. It's insane, man.
We're at the next chapter of the play. Ooh, the plot twist. Here it is. You know, dude, Trump literally was on WWE wrestling people before. You don't think he knows how to handle hoaxes?
It's all a show, and that's something else we said. I know we all are very well aware that this is all a gigantic WWE plot, but I just don't know what the ends of it are, man.
Right,
what are
that's the
ends
problem
here?
Dude, go on YouTube. You just type in Trump WWE. You forgot about all the him shaving everybody's head, drop kicks, the fucking clotheslines. Dude, he was doing this shit in front of tens upon tens of thousands of people for months. You don't think that was all an act to get him used to doing this later on?
Preparation, yeah.
Right. That's it drives me crazy. It's like I get it. We the hope thing and like the great hope and I understand. But what drives me crazy is it's like I'm gonna give you an example, right? So so we're gonna use Bush Jr., right? So Bush Jr., skull and bonesman from the Northeast, from Connecticut, from Yale. He put on his Texas accent and then he went down to a ranch and all of a sudden he was from the heartland, right? Okay, how does somebody get a Texas accent from Connecticut when their parents don't talk like that? Nobody around them talks like that. All of a sudden, the TV camera's on. He's in a ranch with a Texas accent. You're from Connecticut. You come from an oil family. It's like Trump with the whole thing. It's like what drives me crazy is the farmers, and I get it. They're good people. I get it. You want but these farmers, they're out here. Trump's going to save us. The guy doesn't know how to plant a carrot or change a tire. How the fuck's he going to save you? Like he's a city slicker from New York who was born with $400 million in the bank. Literally. So then it's like how is he going to tell you, a farmer in the middle of fucking Wisconsin or wherever you're from, that he's going to save your farm? Shouldn't you A, save yourself? B, shouldn't you put your faith in God? 3, shouldn't you have somebody who actually is a farmer representing your interests, who actually farmed or owns a farm? It's just like the whole act has gotten so out of control that it's literally, again, back to square one, where it's like Idiocracy meets They Live meets 1984 meets Wall-E. It's like, it's fucking crazy.
It is, and it's because they showed us and everything. Again, back to desensitizing us, because then when it finally comes up, we're like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen, and then we just move on. I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on. I'm holding on to all of it, man. It's back to what they did with COVID, back to what they did with 9/11, back to what they did with Oklahoma City, back to what they did with Sandy Hook, back to what they did with the Boston bombing, back to all of that, man. Like, it's all been like we're rats in a maze, and they keep blowing little things up here and there to direct us where they want us to go, and it's just
if you actually look at that
man.
picture, if you look at that picture that I have on my thing here, where it's the girl, and
I can pull up a bit of a bigger. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I'll pull it up. I have a bigger version slightly.
So I took that picture in 2009 in Long Island City, Queens. In 2009, I wrote on that: the left is broke, the right is broke, money is broke, government is broke, religion is broke, everything is broken. Please help. When I said that in 2009, I had people in my neighborhood, who I would show my artwork to, and I was doing art shows at the time at like wine stores and selling my art stuff at that time. And people would come up to me and be like, everything is fine. I'm like, you don't understand. You're seeing the drip feed. What you think is fine today is not going to be fine, in a decade, 2 decades. And now we're at the end result of like the pictures that I was saying, because you can see the writing was on the wall.
Right.
And it's like, now the end result is, well, we're at the end result, because whatever they're going to do in the next 3.5 months is going to happen. And again, they need their one world government by 2030, right? Okay, what year is it? It's 2024 and a half. So they're going to make moves, and they're going to make moves fucking quick. And it's like, so now we're at the precipice of something. We don't know what, but that something is going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be bad. And the only way to survive it is if we come together as a people and stop the fucking division, because, again, the divide and conquer. We need to just put our differences down, say, hey, listen, we're only going to survive this one way or the other. Otherwise, this world is going to turn into a deep, dark place. Kind of like Stephen King's The Stand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that movie. I'm just saying, I've watched it so many times. It's so good.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we are right now, where they're pushing this, the one world agenda. Dude, all this transgenderism. You know what's crazy? I'm not going against any religion. I am not for or against any religion. All I'm saying is facts. If you open up the Talmud, the Talmud, the Talmud, the Jewish Bible, whatever that is, in there's 8 gods that they worship. One of them, the name of the god is actually androgynous. And in their description, the androgynous god has both male and female organs. It's a little strange that the people that own the porn companies that are pushing this transgenderism are also worshiping the same god in their Bible. It's just, I'm connecting dots, but how, it's like I'm starting to try and understand what the fuck is going on here. Like, why is there people waking up going, I need to cut my dick off. I need to cut my dick off. Like, where's this coming from? Like, it's so there's obviously some sort of nefarious purpose here where they want some one world government where everybody has both sex organs, just like the beast has both sex organs.
It's crazy. We've seen that
Right.
that progression in our lifetime.
100%.
Like we've seen that whole the way we don't really know how they did it, but we saw the progression of it. You know what I mean? That training these people to think that there's no such thing as a sexual orientation, that you could be whatever you want and all this. And it was like we've seen this unfolding,
dude.
You know what I mean?
We
Back
saw
with the AIDS scares and all that. Dude, it's wild. Like,
and they were all dying from the medicine. That's what was killing them.
Fauci, fucking doing it again, man.
And then when you think about it, there are reptilian species that self-reproduce. So this goes back to my theory: is the reps are in charge because they're self-reproducing species that are pushing this agenda.
Dude, we saw what you were talking about, Bill, the evolution of it, and I just want to say straight up, I have many friends that are gay. I've never had any problem with people who are gay. I've always thought it's your choice. I'm not saying some people think it's for birth. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't care who you have sex with. It doesn't need to be your whole life. That aside, we watched how first it was when I was a kid, it was like a total outcast thing to be gay. It was
100%.
like you were made fun of, or you didn't dare say it.
Right.
Then it became, oh, it's okay to be gay. We need to be nice to them. Then it became, oh, they should be out about it and push it. Then it became they should be allowed to get married. Then it became they should be allowed to have kids. Then it became that it's not gay, it's just normal. Then it became, well, this transgender thing, and then it became towards kid. It was like a slow process that
slow burn.
Yeah, each like the Chinese water torture. Like one drip doesn't bother you, but it all starts to add up, and over time, it's just.
Look, I'm 48, right? So I can say in my lifetime I've seen, dude. I remember being like 18 years old in '94. When I heard of when I thought of lesbians, I thought of the hottest fucking two girls having the most sensual sex with each other, and you were just like, oh my god, I've never seen something so beautiful in my life. Now a lesbian
and then you moved to South Florida.
Yeah. Now a lesbian is I'm fat, I'm angry, and I'm a communist. It's like how the fuck did this happen? The slow drip. It makes no sense. And again, going back to having to celebrate for a day, then you had to have a week celebration, then you had to have a month celebration, now you have an all year celebration. Now I walk into a coffee shop and I have to get bombarded with every single purchase is wrapped in a flag. Dude, I'm in here for coffee.
Listen, I don't care what you do in your bedroom, but don't pull your dick out in front of little kids.
Exactly.
And that's where it's gotten to where it's okay. It's just out of control.
That we're all having. It's like people call me conservative. No, I'm not conservative. I'm a normal person from 20 years ago.
That's why I love when people do that. I was a liberal. I mean, I wouldn't even have called myself a liberal, but by definition, other people would have considered me a liberal. Dude, now, I mean, dude, they're too far. I believe everybody has a right to do what they want as long as they're not hurting anybody.
In this case, the kids.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They are hurting kids.
100%.
You shouldn't be pushing. I saw dude, I will send you the video. It's a child's book. Something about the back door, and the whole entire book is how it's about not being afraid to go in the back door, and just make sure your back door is clean and trimmed up for when people come over. What the fuck
it doesn't even
is going on?
Yeah,
so I remember playing Chutes and Ladders as a kid.
So when they're not allowed to, or when they're not able to abuse them physically, then at least they can still abuse them mentally. And I feel like they're not going to stop until that is the norm.
But
and you're considered an outcast when you're just a normal person and want to be,
Are you hiding straights in your attic?
Yeah, no, literally.
That's what it's gonna be.
Did you see the opening ceremony of the Olympics?
No,
unbelievable.
I told myself I wanted to see it, and I didn't freaking watch it, man.
You were watching some fucking Dude, go back and watch the opening ceremony of the Olympics from 20 years ago and this one. It
Oh,
literally looks like
I
you're
saw
watching
that
some-
one, but I didn't see the new one.
Oh,
It was just last night, right?
yeah. They have some blue-haired fucking creature, like, or blue-painted body creature with like a little underwear on. They were doing some kind of like they were like mocking the 12 Apostles Last Supper photo.
Oh, I have to go back and watch it then
it was all
because
trans lineup.
Yeah,
mocking the Last
oh
Supper.
my God, are you serious?
I saw it too.
It's like I'm here to watch somebody play basketball. Like I don't.
Dude.
Like,
What, you're not there to see breakdancing, dude? Because that's in the Olympics now. But anyway, that's insane because the whichever one it was, the not 2020, before that, the Olympics, where they had all the nurses and doctors' beds and the Reaper.
I think that was the 2010
they're showing us what's coming. So I gotta watch this one and see, because if they're showing the Last Supper, man, Jesus is coming back, y'all.
That's what I'm saying. They were mocking the Last Supper, and I'm like, wait a second, this is
It's a ritual. It's a ritual where they show you what is to come.
Ted, it's he, him. He, him is coming back.
Is that with a he with an H or an X?
Dude, it's fucking crazy. It's like, how the fuck did we get here? And then you say, oh, well, everybody was living in opulence and easy life. And then, then the estrogen in the water feminized everybody.
I blame AOL, bro. It all started with AOL. Once you heard that, you've got mail. Yeah. That was it, dude. It was over. You were hooked to hearing that, even if it was an ad from like Foot Locker or something. You were just like, you've got mail.
When you hear that now, you have such a nostalgia twitch. You're like, oh man,
I know.
It's like
weird.
It's like, how the fuck how did society allow this to happen?
We used to have to
I hope we get to the day. I hope we get to the day where we go, remember cell phones?
Yeah.
Those were crazy. Who would have thought we would have carried around
tracking
tracking
and they don't
devices?
even talk on them. They text.
I know. To each other, 5 people.
I think we're more going towards the day where we say, do you remember when we used to be able to speed?
Right.
That was so much fun.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Remember when we used to be able to drive?
That'll happen in our lifetime.
Demolition Man. Remember the movie?
Oh, dude, there's a lot with Demolition Man to me, because I always remember the year 2032, because I watched that movie multiple times. 2032 is the year I'll turn 50. 2032 is the year I have to renew my driver's license. 2032 is going to be a big year. I've always had a feeling of that, because I remember that movie, and we're getting there. Because you remember that society was completely separated. The only restaurants were the worst fucking fast food place made it.
You would get fined for saying words.
Yeah. It's literally, they showed us all of it.
You're living in the tunnel.
Wesley Snipes would be a prophet, man.
What if 2032 is a symbolized for the end of the world, and that's when we all wake up out of our programming and they say your sentence is finished?
Yeah, right.
They thaw us out. We're good.
Well, look at it like this. Like for all the Musk simpers, dude, Neuralink and Starlink together are literally Skynet.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
And I think, dude, it's horrible. He's running the internet with his drones that fly that people think are satellites.
Right.
He has the cars that they're trying to push everywhere. He's taken over the all-in-one app. He's trying to make it everything. He literally is. I don't know, man. I don't have a good feeling about him.
100%.
But I mean, he smiles a lot and says some cool stuff, so people like him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. 100%. Anybody that wants to start putting chips in people's brains, like, no.
You know what, Ted? You know what, Mpixtures? I think you're just both victims of the woke mind virus.
Yeah.
If you believe that about Elon.
I know. I got to put my poster up and start worshiping him. So. Right,
maybe I'll start getting more views if I start worshiping him a little bit.
You know what? Let's be honest. Let's call it right now. Let's predict the future. Who are they going to put in as a perceived puppet? Is it going to be Big Mike, or is it going to be? Are they going to keep Kamala? Who do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. I think I'll say this as, and I have to remind myself to say, because I know it, they know it, but some people don't. In the movie we're watching, because it's all a fucking show.
Right.
Yes. I think it's extremely wrong for them to just transfer campaign donations that were Biden's to Kamala, assuming that's who people wanted. No one picked her. She did 1% in the freaking primaries when she was going against him. Nobody likes her, but somehow she just got shooed into president, which is starting to make me think that Joe Biden was the plan to get her there all along.
Yes, he picked her for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was just here to, I'm fucking dumb, so she's going to come in now.
Propping up everyone else.
Because no one would vote for her, and she's the most liberal freaking person that's ever been up there. But for her VP, I think she's going to pick the astronaut. I'm not sure, but I think
That's
she's
what
going
I'm
to pick the
saying,
astronaut, man.
dude. If this goes down and those two and the astronaut VP gets nominated,
With
this is the setup
czar
for. I think they want the confrontation on the space agenda, because those how did Kamala get put up as the head of like Space Command or whatever?
So ridiculous.
What experience did she have?
Space Command.
Or like Trump with fucking Space Force.
Dude.
It's like when Trump invented Space Force. I'm like, what? Like you're simping for this guy right now.
Bill has a theory on this though.
Let's hear it.
I think it's trolling. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah. No, it could be trolling. Sure,
It's the Star Trek sign, and it's the whole nine. You know what I mean? Like, it's just such a big troll. And I think, and you see the video, right? When
I hope so.
In my opinion, he was clowning Buzz Aldrin.
Right.
You saw that, right?
When Buzz was making those faces.
But then again, what are we talking about here? Like, oh yeah, he did it as a show, right? So is it a show as in like
a mock trial, like the Alex Jones
I know
thing?
it's all BS, but you're still gonna pay for it. You're still, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or is he trying to wake us up? Or whoever's trying to wake us up using him? I mean, there's so many avenues we can go down that road.
It's endless.
Right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, at the end of the day, everything's coming to fruition like we were told it's going to.
Yeah.
It really is, man. It really
100%.
What if I guess we're all going to sit around and just accept it, right? We're going to sit here and theorize it, right? We're like, well, no, maybe it could go this way. Well, they're just laughing, right?
I will say this. If Kamala wins this election, people will be in the streets.
Oh, 100%.
People will be in the streets knowing the election was rigged, because I do too. I think that proves your point even more that you've been saying all along, that Biden has to win the election. Because if Kamala wins, the 1% who no one liked, who is clearly, I cannot wait. I hope they debate so bad. I really hope they debate. It's going to be the best entertainment part of this movie ever. I know.
Big water. Did you watch the Trump DeChambeau golf thing on YouTube?
Who? The what?
So Trump did this thing for charity with, I don't know if you follow golf or not. So Bryson DeChambeau is one of the world's best golfers.
Okay.
So just go on YouTube and type in DeChambeau Trump golf. It's got like 10 million views in 4 days. They drive around his golf course in Doral, and it's so funny to hear Trump talk. And so I'm saying this is because I want to hear him debate too, because the way he speaks is so fucking weird that I think there's something with it on purpose. Like it's like subliminal reverse messaging or something. Because there's no way to talk like that. It's so strange how he talks.
It really is
very strange.
It's like China, big water, and you're like, what is that? Some kind of like MK Ultra drop? Like,
yeah, no, I think that, I'm not into it, but I don't even think it's him, to be honest.
You think it's just a masked whatever?
Yeah, it could be the mask. He could have a mask on himself. I mean, there's definitely more than one Trump.
Oh yeah.
100%. About 50 Bidens, but
at least.
How did we get here, man?
That's what I'm saying. How did we get here?
I think we could all agree right around, like you said, 2014, 2015, 2016, something was happening.
Yeah, a shift happened.
Okay, they turned CERN on.
Yeah.
They did.
People, well, then they didn't do that to wake people up on purpose. At least I don't think so.
Right.
I think, and the only way that I think they would do it is if they thought the payoff was worth it. They think that what they're going to get out of it is going to be faster or more important than the people are awakening, if that's what's causing it. I'm just saying, because there's no way they want what's happening right now to be happening.
No, that's what I'm
There's
saying.
no
Is
way.
they've lost so much power. Like if you want to keep your perceived power, you want to keep doing what you're doing, but you're losing your perceived power because more and more people are collectively and consciously waking up. So you have to do something to squelch that fucking rising up. You have to. There's no way around it, because how are you going to keep your agenda going? Whatever that nefarious agenda is, you're going to have to keep it going only by allowing it to happen. And if the people allow it to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you don't allow it,
we
it can't
can't
happen.
keep going down this route much longer, no matter
No,
what.
it's like I don't know what they're gonna, there's 50 different things, but I mean, whatever it is, I don't know. I go any which way, but I think that they're gonna suspend the election and keep Kamala in. That's I think.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you have a very unique way of approaching this, because I know you feel like it's a duty, right? I think we all do that. We like knowing this and being awake and all that. We've had this like unconscious duty to like try any way we can to wake people up, right?
Right.
And I think the way that you're doing is pretty fantastic, man. It's definitely a niche, and it's cool, man. I saw that 9-minute documentary, which everybody could go watch on YouTube.
Yes.
And
I'll have all the links.
Yeah, we'll have the
links.
Thank
you.
And
it's okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's something. It's short, but it's sweet, and you pack so much in, and like Ted said, there's things left to be questioned as well. You know what I mean? So, and where can we find your? Do you only sell it on Amazon, the art?
Yeah, I only have them on Amazon. So on my website, Mpixtures, Mpixtures.com, there's a link there to
the website, and it basically it just shows you where you could go check out the photos and everything.
Yeah, if you click on, there's links there on Amazon to go buy the book. If you like my art, please support my art.
Yeah, I think they're like $2 and stuff like that, right? Like from what I can tell, the pictures are
some of the photo books are I don't know, I forgot the exact pricing, but the photo books are like the Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and Consortium Agenda Volume 2. If you're going to support anything I do, please support those 2 books.
Okay. Oh, the books themselves, right?
Yeah, the books. Yeah.
Individual pictures too that you sell.
I do have individual pictures for sale, yes, but I like the Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and 2 books because they tie into the documentary, and then there's it's not just photos; it's also words. It's not just a photo book; it's also a word book. Yeah. So and try and work, wake people up that way.
That was going to be my next question. If you had like descriptions of what's going on in these photos and all that, and
yeah, that would be the Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and Volume 2. Excellent. Those are my blood, sweat, and tears works. Like I put a lot of time and energy into those books, and I went through a lot. I mean, I wrote rounding up the models. You're not going to
put them out for free?
Yeah, I know, bro. Come on,
grifter.
Dude, oh man, don't even get these UFO cults, man. These people. I got disclosure and the truth, but you have to come to my seminar. What? Man, it's they drive me crazy. The UFO cult. We have to do a show on them guys.
It's like the people who I'll tell you how to make a bunch of money. Just pay me $50 and I'll tell you how.
Yeah,
you get a bunch of people to give you money to tell them how. That's how.
Yeah, that's really funny.
How funny was it watching David Wilcock?
Oh God, blue
shit
chickens
all over flat Earth with a black eye.
Yeah.
That was the best.
That was his ritual. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
like this big old black eye, and he's trying to be. I can't believe. How dare you say the Earth is flat? That's the most ridiculous thing ever, and this and that, and it is just like, oh my gosh, look at that black eye.
Dude, this guy, what drives me crazy with him? If you ever watched his live streams lately, he lives in like a mansion in Colorado, and he asks for like donation money so he can go to the restaurant and eat steak sandwiches.
I know. Whatever happened to that flying car? Did he finish that thing?
No, he's being sued for it. As far as I know.
I figured he would.
Yeah, like we're gonna have a flying car. Like, okay, well, what proof do you have?
And he like into a warehouse one day. He's like, look at it, and he's like panning around. He's like, this is it. This is the future right here. Your donations made this happen.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's like when I was a kid, this dystopian nightmare future that we're in. It's like, I was promised that we were going to have flying cars and neon mile-high clouds.
Hotels on the moon. All of it, man.
Let's give
Rufus.
NASA $60 million a day. Every time I look up, I see the same chemtrails.
I know, dude. It's just the temperature difference. They're
Right.
contrails.
Swamp gas.
I actually have a video I'm gonna post. It's really good. That it's so close up and it's zoomed in where you can tell it's not coming from the engines.
Right.
Totally
right.
destroys their narrative, man. It's such crap.
Speaking of long distance, you do know that the Nikon doesn't make the P1000 anymore because they show for NASA now.
They got rid of it, and then the
Yep.
very next day said, "Oh, we just signed this contract with NASA."
Yep.
It's awesome timing.
That camera price is going to be fucking $5K now on eBay.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Rufus has one.
Yeah, they're the best, but I mean, for the price, what you can do with them. But I mean, I can't believe that they got to Nikon.
The damage is done, man. The damage is
Japanese
already
company.
done. We already.
I'll tell
know
you
that
that
Earth's
camera was
flat.
created solely for looking at the stars and the moon and all that. It sucks for everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Too
got a cell
bulky
phone
and heavy.
sensor.
That's
It's
a pretty
super
good
slow.
job at destroying the
The
globe.
flat Earth destroyer, or the
Yeah,
Earth
the
destroyer,
flat Earth destroyer.
globe destroyer.
Globe
Once
destroyer.
you put that camera into digital, it's terrible. You have to keep it in analog only. You can't, but it's a shame that even a Japanese company shows for fucking NASA like that.
I know. They're all connected.
It's all of
They're
them.
Yep.
Gentlemen, this was
Dude,
an
yes.
awesome.
This
Oh
was
yeah,
so
absolutely. This is
awesome.
fun.
Dude, I want to ask you to stick around for like 1 minute after we're done, just because
Sure.
I want to talk about one thing. And then
Yeah.
this is where we say death, fade it out. So, dude, it was fucking awesome. I even watching that thing, like I was telling my wife before, I was like, I don't know much about him, but I watched it and I agree with everything he said. And tonight, same thing. I was like, I don't disagree with one single thing that you said. It's just
Bro,
we
same
are riding the same wavelength, man.
Same here.
Mpixtures.com.
Yes. If anybody likes me, please, my favorite thing is support my 2 photo books, Consortium Agenda Volume 1 and Volume 2. That is my baby.
Now.
Yep, and we will link it all to whatever will let us. Sometimes YouTube doesn't let me link certain things, but they'll probably let me link Amazon and all that. So we'll see. But it'll be awesome. Everybody, thanks for
That's fun.
watching. We
Nice to meet you.
appreciate it.
Very nice having you on, brother. We'll see you again soon, definitely.
Please.
Peace.
Thanks, man.
Later.